You ever look at someone you've loved for half your life and realize they don't see you anymore? Not hate, not anger, just emptiness. My name is Michael Carter. I build bridges for a living. Real ones. Steel, concrete, weight tested. But somehow, I missed the cracks forming right inside my own home. My wife, Lindsey, and we've been together since college. 2 kids. A quiet life in Austin. I thought we were solid, but things started to shift. She smiled less, laughed more at her phone than at me, started wearing makeup to the grocery store, new dresses, new perfume, old stories from high school, resurfaced. Then one night, I walked past our bedroom, and I heard her whisper a name. Brandon. It hit me like concrete. Brandon Watts. Her high school boyfriend. The one who left her before prom. The one she used to say broke something in her. I hadn't heard his name in 20 years. But now, he was back. In her texts, in her voice, in her dreams. And just like that, I saw it. She wasn't trying to reconnect with him. She was trying to replace me with a memory. A fantasy that never grew old. Never worked double shifts. Never forgot to take the trash out. But memories lie. And I don't build fantasies. I build reality. So I let her play it out. Let her believe I hadn't noticed. That I was still that blind, steady man in the background. And when she was ready to leave, I made sure she walked straight into the truth. If you've ever loved quietly and been betrayed silently, you're not alone. Hit subscribe, because this is just the beginning. My name is Michael Carter. I don't wear a suit to work. I don't give speeches or sit in meetings. I build things. Bridges, roads, foundations that hold weight. Been doing it for 22 years. Started with nothing but a toolbox and a willingness to show up early and leave late. Now I manage multi-million-dollar projects across Austin, still covered in dust most days, still eat lunch from my truck, and I'm okay with that. I met Lindsey in college. She was majoring in nursing. I was working 2 jobs while studying engineering. She said I was boring in the best way, predictable, loyal, safe. We got married at 23, bought our first home at 25, had Ethan and Clara not long after. She used to wait up for me after long shifts. Used to bring dinner to the job site just to see me eat. Those were good years. Simple. Tired but full. Lindsey would fall asleep on the couch with a baby on each side and a smile that made every hour worth it. I didn't care about promotions or bonuses. I cared about being a husband, a dad. That was my legacy, or so I thought. Because lately when I come home, the lights are on, the house is clean, the kids are quiet, and Lindsey is somewhere else. Not physically, emotionally. She talks less, laughs at her phone more, and when I walk into the room, it feels like I'm interrupting something. I thought I knew the weight of things. Turns out, I had no idea what was about to collapse. Lindsey used to be the kind of woman who filled a room not with noise, but with warmth. She didn't talk over people. She listened. People trusted her. She was the calm in the storm, especially mine. She became a nurse right after we got married. Worked long nights, sometimes back-to-back shifts, but she never let it make her bitter. She was patient, steady, soft-spoken, but never weak. She remembered birthdays before Facebook reminders, knew when Ethan was faking a fever, could fold a fitted sheet perfectly like some kind of domestic ninja. But lately, she's been someone else. Still beautiful, still polite, but distant. She started going out more girls' nights, she says. New dresses, more makeup, fresh nails every week, even when we were tight on money. She stopped asking about my day. Stopped waiting up. Stopped noticing things like how I was skipping lunch to get home sooner. Like how I'd sit in the driveway some nights too drained to walk inside. She started locking her phone. Started saying she was too tired to talk. But at 1 a.m., I'd hear her whispering, laughing, and once, just once, I heard her say his name. Brandon. She said it like it still meant something. Like it was a secret. That's when I knew. This wasn't just about growing apart. She was reaching backward, not forward. And I was no longer the man she saw in her future, just the one standing in her way. It started small. Little things most husbands wouldn't even notice. Like how Lindsey began changing her perfume from soft lavender to something sharper, something new. She said it was on sale, but Lindsey doesn't do impulse buys. Then came the phone habits. She used to leave it lying around unlocked screen face up. Now, it never left her side. Always face down. Always locked. And she'd flinch every time I walked into the room mid-text. One night, I got up to get water and heard her in the laundry room at 1:27 a.m., whispering. Laughing, I stood in the hallway just out of view and waited. And then I heard it. I missed those nights behind the bleachers. She giggled. Soft, familiar, dangerous. She didn't know I was there. Didn't know I was listening to her revisit someone else's memory. A memory that didn't include me. The next morning I asked her who she was talking to. She said it was just work stuff, that the hospital had been understaffed lately, but she wouldn't look me in the eye. And Lindsey always looks people in the eye, especially when she's lying. That day I checked our phone bill online. One number repeated almost daily. I Googled it. No name came up, but the area code, Colorado Springs, the last place I knew Brandon Watts had lived. And just like that, the past she'd buried was back. And it had my wife's full attention. I didn't confront her, not yet. I'd seen too many men blow up too soon and end up looking crazy when the truth finally came out. I needed more than a hunch, so I started watching quietly. I noted every girl's night, every shift that didn't match the hospital's posted schedule, every new outfit she claimed was on clearance. I checked her mileage. She drove 38 miles on a Thursday. She said she only went to Target. Target's 5 miles away. The following weekend, I found a receipt in her coat pocket. Dinner for two. A place called Salt House Grill. Downtown Austin, linen napkins, wine list, candlelight. We hadn't been there since our 10th anniversary. I asked her about it. She said she took her friend Jenna there for her birthday. Funny thing, Jenna moved to Oregon last year. Still gets our Christmas cards. So I did what any rational man would do. I played dumb. Smiled, nodded. Let her lie. And then I bought a notebook. Every detail, every date, every excuse that didn't sit right. Because Lindsey wasn't just drifting. She was building a separate life. And I knew if I pushed too early, she'd erase the tracks. So I did what I do best. I stayed steady, just like a foundation. Silent, unmoving, but ready to carry the weight of whatever came next. It was a Thursday. Rain had been falling all morning. I got off site early, steel delivery delayed by weather. Thought I'd surprise the kids, maybe take them to dinner. But when I pulled into our driveway, her car wasn't there, and neither were the kids. I called Lindsey, straight to voicemail. That's when I noticed the car across the street. Not a neighbor's, not familiar. Rental plates, Colorado tag. I parked 2 blocks down, walked back, slow, quiet, peered through our front window. There she was, my wife, on our couch, laughing, hair done, new dress, wine glasses on the table, and sitting next to her, Brandon Watts. Time didn't just rewind. It broke. He looked older gray at the temples, tailored shirt, confident smirk, like he never left high school emotionally, just aged into his lies. I didn't go in, didn't scream, didn't break the glass. I pulled out my phone, took photos, zoomed in. Brandon touched her hand. She didn't pull away. They toasted. She leaned her head against his shoulder. And right then, everything that held our life together fractured. But I didn't rage. I walked away, got in my truck, drove until the rain blurred the road. I wasn't just watching a betrayal. I was watching a woman convince herself that a ghost from her past was better than the man who built her present. I didn't confront her that night. I came home like nothing happened, hung up my jacket, kissed the kids goodnight. Lindsey walked in a few minutes later, smelling like the same wine she used to share with me on anniversaries. She smiled, that polite, practiced smile. "How was your day?" she asked. "Uneventful," I said. That night, while she slept, I made a call. To James, old friend, former Marine, now a licensed private investigator. No drama, no lectures, just facts. I told him I needed to know everything. Dates, places, money trails. He didn't ask why. 2 days later, James sent me a drop folder. Photos. Brandon and Lindsey, same hotel, 2 cities, 6 times. Dinner receipts, hotel check-ins, even one community college tuition payment made from Brandon's account. Lindsey wasn't just betraying me emotionally. She was building a new life. With my replacement, funded by someone else. But I still didn't explode. I didn't even flinch because now I had leverage. I started documenting. I logged missed school events, texts from the kids, screenshots of comments Lindsey made to them about me. She wasn't just cheating, she was rewriting history. And if she was planning to leave, she wasn't walking away clean. I'd seen too many bridges collapse because no one checked the foundation. I was checking every bolt, every crack, every lie. And when the time came, I wasn't going to knock the house down. I was going to take back every brick. It started with silence, not hers, the kids. Ethan used to light up when I walked in the door. Clara always had a dozen questions before dinner. Now, one-word answers, avoided eye contact, homework at the kitchen table, headphones and walls up. At first I blamed myself. The overtime, the exhaustion, missing birthdays for concrete pours that couldn't wait. But then I noticed the shift. Comments, subtle at first. Mom says you're always too tired. Mom thinks we should spend weekends with her sister more. Then came the red flag. Clara, age 13, looked me in the eye and asked, "Dad, do you even want to be here?" That cut deeper than Lindsey ever could. I knew what was happening. Lindsey wasn't just cheating. She was planting seeds, painting me as the absent father, the cold provider, the man who chose buildings over birthdays. She wasn't leaving me. She was setting up a case to take everything, including the only thing that ever mattered, Ethan and Clara. So I documented more. Voice memos after every interaction, photos of school pickups, screenshots of messages between Lindsey and her sister, talking about how to prepare the kids emotionally. They weren't preparing the kids. They were preparing a script, and I wasn't going to let them recast me as the villain in the story I'd built from the ground up. Lindsey thought she was being clever, but I wasn't a background character. I was the one holding the blueprint, and I was about to change the ending. I knew I couldn't win this in a shouting match. Lindsey was playing the long game, positioning herself as the hurt wife, the neglected mother, the victim. But victims don't have secret bank accounts, or boyfriends funding their new wardrobe, or text coaching kids how to speak in court. So I made my move. I called Robert Hayes, family lawyer, old school, handled my dad's will when he passed, honest to a fault and brutal when crossed. I laid it all out. The surveillance, the hotel stays, the financial records, the manipulation of Ethan and Clara. He didn't blink. "This isn't just adultery," he said. "This is parental alienation, financial deception, premeditated fraud." His associate Patricia leaned in. "Smart, sharp, no nonsense. We file first," she said. "Divorce on grounds of adultery. Request temporary custody. Freeze all marital assets." "And Derek," I asked. "We notify his wife," Robert replied. "Let her know what her husband's been funding in Texas." Within 72 hours, we had everything ready. A full filing, attached evidence, affidavits, a forensic accountant tracing Brandon's money. I didn't feel rage. I felt focused, precise, because revenge isn't about destruction. It's about control. Lindsey wanted to erase me from my own family. I wasn't just going to stop her. I was going to let her watch it collapse brick by brick until she realized I had the foundation all along. It was a Tuesday morning. Lindsey had just dropped Clara off at school. She pulled into the driveway, coffee in hand, sunglasses on, probably thinking about whatever lies she'd tell me that night. But waiting at the porch was a process server. Manila envelope, stamped, signed. She looked confused at first, then pale, then angry. She called me 5 minutes later, voice tight-clipped. "What the hell is this, Michael?" I stepped outside my office trailer at the job site. Calm. "It's a divorce filing," I said. You made your choice, Lindsey. I'm just confirming it." Her voice dropped. "This is a mistake. We can talk." "Talk," I cut in. "You mean like you talked to Brandon at the Marriott? Or during your community college classes, he paid for..." Silence. Then softly, like she was still trying to control the narrative, "How long have you known?" "Long enough," I said. "Long enough to document everything. The adultery, the parental alienation, the hidden account, the manipulation." She started to cry, or maybe just realized the script had flipped. I hung up, turned off my phone, and for the first time in months, breathed easy. That afternoon, Patricia called. Her lawyer just requested an emergency meeting. Translation, She wasn't prepared, because she never expected the man she tried to erase would be the one holding the eraser. Friday, 9:00 a.m. Travis County Family Court. Lindsey walked in looking like a woman rehearsing pain. Neutral colors, minimal makeup, eyes just moist enough. Sitting beside her, William Harkness, big shot divorce attorney, specialized in hurt wives and hidden assets. Too bad this time. The hurt was self-inflicted. Patricia slid our evidence to the judge photos, bank records, message transcripts. Judge Barrett took his time, flipped through every page, took notes, didn't look at Lindsey once, until he hit the text messages between her and her sister. The ones where they talked about how to phrase things to make me look like a neglectful father. Then he looked up. Mrs. Carter, he said, voice like cold iron. This court does not tolerate manipulation of children. Lindsey shifted. Her lawyer leaned in and whispered, but there was no defense strong enough for the truth. Barrett continued, this is a clear case of attempted parental alienation combined with documented adultery and use of outside funds to destabilize the marital household. He paused. Temporary custody is awarded to Mr. Carter. Supervised visitation for Mrs. Carter pending full review. Lindsey didn't cry. She froze. Because no one had ever called her out, not like this. Not in public. Not by a judge with a gavel and zero patience for lies. Outside the courtroom, Patricia smiled. That went well. I nodded. But inside, I didn't feel victory. Not yet. Because this wasn't about winning. It was about protecting what Lindsey tried to destroy. And proving I never stopped being their father. The custody ruling broke something in Lindsey. She didn't yell, didn't argue. She just crumbled. Like she hadn't considered losing. Like the possibility never crossed her mind. That weekend, she moved into her sister's spare room, took a few bags, left a framed wedding photo behind. The kids didn't ask where she went. They didn't have to. They knew. Meanwhile, Brandon vanished. Patricia's team had contacted his wife in Colorado, sent her the financial records, the photos, the hotel check-ins. Within 48 hours, Brandon's accounts were frozen. His consulting firm started facing scrutiny from the IRS. By Monday, he ghosted Lindsey completely. No more calls, no more wire transfers, no more future. She tried to reach him, I know, because she accidentally texted me. You can't just disappear on me. I gave up everything. I didn't reply. She gave up everything long before Brandon walked back into her life. She gave it up the moment she decided the past was more exciting than the present. Now, she was alone. No husband, no kids, no lover, no plan. Just a woman in a spare bedroom wondering how the fantasy unraveled so fast. And me. I was sitting at the dinner table with Ethan and Clara, helping with homework planning college visits. Not because I was perfect, but because I stayed. I showed up, even when she didn't. 6 months later, Lindsey was working part-time at a dental clinic off I-35, living in a 2-bedroom rental, driving a used Nissan she bought with what was left of her settlement. The kids stayed with me full-time. They still asked about her, but less and less each week. I never badmouthed her. Didn't need to. The truth spoke louder than bitterness ever could. Brandon. Last I heard, his wife took the house filed for full custody of their kids and had his firm audited out of existence. His LinkedIn went dark. He became what he always was, a memory she tried to romanticize, and a mistake she couldn't erase. As for me, I was promoted to senior project manager, oversaw the rebuild of the I-79 overpass, a legacy project. Ethan got accepted to Texas A&M, full scholarship, wants to be an architect. Clara made the varsity debate team, says she wants to study law. Some nights we sit on the porch, just the three of us, laughing, breathing. I still wear my ring, not because I miss her, but because it reminds me of what I survived, of what I rebuilt. She tried to take everything, my home, my kids, my dignity, but the foundation held, because it was built on presence and truth and a quiet kind of strength, the kind you don't see until it's tested. And when it is, it doesn't break, it rises. Sometimes revenge doesn't come in flames. Sometimes it comes in silence, in being the parent who stayed, the builder who never left the job site, the man who didn't burn the house down, but rebuilt it from the ashes. Lindsey lives 17 miles away now. She calls every other weekend. Sometimes Clara answers. Sometimes Ethan says, "We're busy, Mom." I don't interfere. They deserve the truth, but they also deserve the space to feel it on their own. I see the regret in Lindsey's eyes during school events, how she sits 2 rows back, alone, how she claps a little too hard, like she's trying to prove something. But it's not my job to punish her. That part took care of itself. You see, I didn't need to destroy her. I just had to survive her. And that's exactly what I did. So if you're listening to this and you feel like your world is crumbling, like someone you trusted has quietly rewritten the story without you, remember this: some people don't want partners. They want placeholders, people they can replace when the nostalgia kicks in. But nostalgia isn't truth. It's just edited memory. And truth, it always finds a way to rise. Thanks for listening to my story. If it hit home, if you've been there, or you're there now, consider subscribing. We tell stories like these every week. Real pain, real justice, real closure. Because the best revenge is simply not becoming like them. Some scars you carry on the outside. Others live deep in your memory, like a house you once built that someone tried to burn from the inside out. But you're still here, breathing, working, raising your kids. And maybe that's the point. See, Lindsey thought she could replace me with a high school fantasy and a credit card. But this life, this home, these kids, they weren't built on dreams. They were built on concrete. Late nights, missed dinners, sacrifice no one clapped for. And now, the very things she tried to use against me became the things that saved me. The courts saw it, the kids felt it, and I proved it not through anger, but through presence, not with noise, but with proof. Because the best revenge isn't loud. It isn't wild. It doesn't make headlines. It makes peace. It walks into a courtroom with the truth and walks out with its head high. So if you're listening to this and someone tried to erase your role in your own life, don't fight them in the mud. Stand on the truth. Because in the end, they lost everything chasing a lie, and you survived. And that's more than enough. I used to think revenge meant taking something back. Now I know it just means refusing to break. Lindsey lost more than our marriage. She lost trust, respect, the chance to look our kids in the eyes without shame. Brandon, a footnote, an expensive escape that turned into an anchor. And me. I never raised my voice, never sent threats, never played dirty. I just stayed the course. Because when you're built, right, when your integrity runs deep, you don't have to destroy anything to win. You just have to outlast the wreckage. That's what justice looks like. It's not loud. It's not viral. It's quiet, steady, relentless. Like a man who still shows up to every school play, who still helps with math homework, who still answers every phone call, even after being cast aside. So if this story found you at the right time, if you've been made to feel invisible, replaceable, or forgotten, remember, you're not. You're the one holding the blueprint. Let them collapse. Let their lies rot. You just keep building. And if you want more stories like this, stories where the good guy doesn't scream but still wins, subscribe. We tell the truth here. And truth always stands when everything else falls.